What's going on? What's going on? I hate to say that I told y'all so, but I told y'all so. According to Bob Arum, Terrence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao is not happening. Which I've been telling y'all for months, by the way, that he's just he's complete full of ish when it comes to it. Like I said before, Bob Arum once said, fans are like dumb rocks that you can throw in any direction. And I always say, that's my biggest saying is, don't be that dumb rock that he throws in any direction. That fight was never going to happen. Supposedly, it's not happening because the investors don't want to invest the money into the fight because it's going to be no fans. Which makes absolutely no sense to me due to the fact that, number one, we haven't heard anything about Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence not happening. They're still talking about that particular fight happening. People seem to be investing in that. So we got UFC after UFC event, pay-per-view events that's been happening. That's going on. There's no problem with that. And you're talking about also their top guys. They're setting up fights against their top guys. You know what I mean? But no problem. Yet the investors are still willing to invest in all these fights. In situations where they gotta put these people on private planes. You know what I'm saying? Put them in special situation when it comes to hotels and with testing and all this other stuff. They're able to do it and still set up all their events. Set up all the events with no problem. There's no problem with financing. Not to mention, Manny Pacquiao, PBC, Al Heyman, they can get financing. It's not like just Manny Pacquiao's just all out there by himself. And the biggest thing is this. When you're coming out, you're the C side, okay? Not even the B side. You're kind of like the C side. And you're trying to supposedly do what Bob Arum was trying to do, which was basically set up the whole event and be in full control of the whole event. You have to have that money set off the rip. That's the number one thing you do. If you can't get the financing set, you don't even go to to level B. You don't even go to step B, step 2. Step 1 is to get the financing and to make sure the money is straight. If the money is straight, you do not continue. There's nothing to do. And especially you coming as the B or the C side in that situation, you're going to have a substantial amount of money if you're expecting this man to put himself into a situation where he's not in control of that fight. A substantial amount of money. And due to the fact that he has other options that are just as dangerous or less dangerous, other options that would make him more money, because the Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao fight makes way more money. When you got a guy that's doing 400,000 plus pay-per-views right now, Manny Pacquiao, and you got a guy that's doing 350,000 pay-per-views, you put them together and it's both doing good gates, that's going to do substantially more money than a fight between Terrence Crawford, who's not bringing in pay-per-views like that. Who, even when they put him on regular TV, his viewership is dropping because of the way they're promoting him and because of the opponents that they're putting him in the ring with him. And when you come to the two fighters, it's the same level of risk. So it's not even like I'm saying Terrence Crawford is a trash fighter or anything like that. I'm saying it's the same level of risk. So if I'm facing the same level of risk when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, why am I going to do it for have these guys be in control and make less money when I can fight Errol Spence, be in a situation where we have the same people, so my people are in control, and I make more money. You know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about if the money's going to be right, worry about suing somebody for, to get my check later on, all that stuff. I don't have to worry about none of that stuff. Why would I go over there? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Don't be a dumb rock and let Bob Arum throw you in any direction. This man just finished saying just a couple of weeks ago that, we can't do the Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman, not Keith Thurman, versus what's that boy's name? Sean Porter. We can't do that fight because without fans, we don't have the finances to do it. It doesn't make any sense. If that didn't make sense, why the hell would Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford make sense? Why would that make sense? We just seen Terrence Crawford coming out screaming out, "I'm not fighting until the end of the year. I'm not going to fight this year unless they pay me my money because I'm not fighting for less. I need my exact bag. I need what I'm supposed to get paid. Period. I'm not fighting for no less." That's what they said. That's what he just finished saying. So I'm like, okay, if that's the case, and why would you be getting paid less if you fight Manny Pacquiao? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, this would be your biggest payday if you fought Manny Pacquiao. Why would you be getting paid less? And the reality is because he never was going to fight Manny Pacquiao. He never was going to fight Manny Pacquiao. It would be moronic, it would be idiotic for Manny Pacquiao to put himself into a space where Bob Arum is getting control of the event. Where Bob Arum once again controls his money, controls those refs, controls it. When you've already know you got did dirty when it came to you versus Jeff Horner. When you know you've been done dirty when it comes to this man stealing your money for all those years. Having to get rid of your advisor because he was also on the take. Bob Arum was giving him money. And clearly now he has a monster team, with Al Heyman, where the money is right. You know the money is right. And you don't have to worry about none of that foolery. And you got someone that has proven to be better at promoting boxing events in Fox. Then let's go them over there. It's proven to be better at that than them. So why, it makes no sense. Why would he let that man be in control of his fight? It made absolutely no sense. Ugas supposedly is who they're going after right now. And they're going to try to set up a fight with Ugas. Because, you can pay Ugas less money and Terence Crawford will still get his money. And we've heard that he's not fighting Ugas. They're not going to put Terence Crawford in with anybody that they believe not only that can beat him, that could just make him look bad, not look as good. Ugas won't beat Terence Crawford. So let's get that straight. I'm not saying that he can beat Terence Crawford, but there's not going to be any knockouts in that fight. And Ugas is going to have enough moments where Crawford is not going to be, quote, as dominant as people have been thinking due to the low level of competition that he's been facing this whole time. He's not. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Terence Crawford is not good or anything like that. I still think he's pound for pound, he's number one in the world. But when it comes to the welterweight division, I do think Errol Spence is, a little bit better than everybody else. I haven't been saying that Errol Spence is light years ahead of everybody or destroy everybody. All I've ever said for a long time now, especially after like the Porter fights and the Mikey fights, is like he's better than everybody else, but he has just that little edge on everybody else. And he's been fighting somebody like a Sean Porter. That's a tough out. When he fights Danny Garcia, that's going to be a tough fight. And if he's not what we thought he was, if he's not as good as he was before, if his injuries have messing him up in any way where he's not at the full 100%, if there's anything mental going on with him, anything, it's going to show in that ring against Danny. That's tough levels of competition. So when you're facing that D1 level of competition, it's going to be hard to always look spectacular and look super in those particular fights. And then when somebody else is fighting is going against D3 level competition, you know what I mean? And then he's trying to look at this D1 player, you know what I'm saying, and compare himself to that D1 player. You just can't do that. You just can't do that just due to you're both fighting complete different levels of competition. And the thing with Terence Crawford is they want him to continue to dominate. They want to keep him still looking spectacular, and with the hopes of later on setting up a fight with, like, let's say Errol Spence. Maybe, because I'm not sure they even want to do that. I'm not sure they want to do that. Depending on what Bob Arum is getting for ESPN for every single one of these Crawford fights, it might not be financially good for him to even set up the fight. It all depends. If he's paying Crawford $3 million, but he's getting $5, $6, $7 million off of Terence Crawford. Crawford's fighting 2-3 times a year. He can ride Terence Crawford for the next 5 years, 5-6 years, and keep making money off of him. know what I mean? You're making 50 million plus off of it. You know, or during that time frame. He'd rather just do that. So I'm not sure if that's a fight that he even wants to do. So Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford is not happening. When it comes to Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, it's not happening. Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman, it's not happening. Terrence Crawford versus Adani, it's not happening. Terrence Crawford versus Ugas, it's not happening. Unfortunately, it's going to be the same old thing. Terrence Crawford versus some low-tier competition. Then next year, see him fighting Kell Brooks, probably, who hasn't fought in God knows how long, and hasn't fought at the welterweight division in years. But it is what it is. Like, subscribe, share, and remember, do not be a dumb rock that Bob Arum throws in any direction.